You know, we hear the word karma all the time, but what if there was an actual formula for it? A pattern, hidden in stories told 2,000 years ago? Well, today, we're going to unlock the powerful message inside a classic Buddhist text that lays out this surprisingly clear blueprint for how our actions really do shape our future.
So our source for this is the Sutra of Collected 100 Karmic Stories. Now, this is a collection of over 100 different tales, and you'll see each one is really designed to teach a single, profound concept about cause and effect. But they do it through these narratives that feel both timeless and deeply personal. It's almost less like a scripture and more like a storybook with a cosmic punchline.
To really get how this works, let's just dive right into one of the most memorable stories from the collection. It's a tale about poverty, generosity, and believe it or not, a simple piece of thread. Okay, so we meet a weaver named Sūtra, and the text makes it really clear this guy is dirt poor, barely surviving, and in his own mind, he thinks he knows exactly why.
See, Sūtra is convinced his current struggle is a direct result of his past actions, specifically that he wasn't generous in a previous life. So he makes this incredibly powerful decision. He's going to break the cycle. Even though he has next to nothing, he scrapes together a tiny bit of thread to offer to the Buddha. And this is the pivotal moment. The Buddha gets this humble gift, and at that very second, his robe just happens to appear torn. He doesn't just accept the thread, he immediately uses it, right there on the spot, to mend his garment. Just imagine the weaver's joy, seeing his tiny, tiny offering have such an immediate and practical impact. This moment is the real turning point. He's so inspired, the weaver doesn't just feel good about his gift, he makes this enormous vow. His focus completely shifts from himself to this huge goal, dedicating this one small act to becoming a Buddha for the sole purpose of helping every other being find freedom from suffering.
And in response to this small act, but powered by that vast intention, the Buddha makes a prophecy. He tells the weaver that in a future life, he will absolutely achieve his goal. He'll become a fully enlightened Buddha, and his name will be 10 threads, all in honor of this simple, sincere offering.
It's an incredible story, right? A tale of hope for anyone who feels like they don't have much to give. But what if it's not just a story? What if the sutra is actually showing us a repeatable formula for creating positive karma? Because when you start looking closely at the other stories in this collection, a really distinct pattern starts to emerge. It's almost like a narrative algorithm, you know? A recipe for generating an extraordinary outcome. Okay, here it is, the karmic formula, and it's basically 3 steps. Step 1, an ordinary person has an encounter with a source of inspiration. In these stories, it's always the Buddha. Step 2, they perform an act of giving, no matter how small, and, this is the crucial part, they pair it with a massive vow to benefit everyone else. And step 3, that combination triggers a very specific result, a prophecy of their future enlightenment.
And this isn't some one-off thing. You see this exact same structure again and again and again throughout the sutra. Someone offers a single flower, a woman offers a gold wheel, a king offers a massive feast. The details are always different, but that 3-step formula stays exactly the same. The text is basically using repetition to hammer home a crucial point about how karma really works. So, if the size of the offering doesn't really matter, then what does? Well, the formula points to one essential ingredient, and that is the power of your intention.
Let's compare 2 stories from the text side by side. On one hand, you've got our weaver, Sūtra, who gives his little bit of thread with pure, unhesitating sincerity. But then, on the other hand, there's a story about a really rich merchant. He vows to give away half his fortune, but as soon as he gets home, greed kicks in. He regrets his promise and tries to get away with just offering a tiny bit of incense. But then, after seeing a miracle, he feels this deep remorse and finally makes a sincere offering of precious jewels.
So here's the kicker. Despite the huge difference in what they offered and even their initial mindsets, the final outcome for both of them is identical. Because they both ultimately got to a place of sincere intention and selfless aspiration, they both get the same prophecy of future Buddhahood. The text is basically suggesting that the universe weighs your heart, not your wallet.
Now, the sutra doesn't just explain the karma of other people. It also turns the lens around and applies this exact same law of cause and effect to the Buddha himself through these incredible stories of his own past lives.
And this brings up a really fascinating question. I mean, if our present reality is shaped by our past actions, what in the world did the Buddha do in his past lives to end up with his state of perfect health and wisdom? Well, the sutra gives us some pretty dramatic answers. One of the most striking tales is from a time when the being who would one day become the Buddha was a compassionate king named Lotus. His entire kingdom was being wiped out by a terrible plague, and his people were dying.
The royal doctors told him that the only possible cure was the flesh and blood of a mythical red fish, basically an impossible remedy. So King Lotus made this unbelievable choice. He climbed a high tower, made a vow to be reborn as that exact fish just to save his people, and then he sacrificed his own life.
Now, this story shows the profound long-term impact of karma. As the tale goes on, he was reborn in the river as a giant red fish. For 12 long years, his flesh would magically regenerate, providing the cure that saved his entire kingdom. And the sutra draws a direct line from this incredible act of self-sacrifice in the past to the Buddha's present reality of perfect health.
Okay, so after digging into these ancient stories and their hidden formula, what are the big takeaways for us right here, right now?
The message from the sutra is actually remarkably clear. First, our future isn't just random. It's being actively created by our actions, and those actions are supercharged by our intentions. Second, the sincerity behind what we do is way more important than the material scale of the act itself. Third, compassion and a genuine wish to help others are the most powerful seeds we can possibly plant. And finally, it's a powerful reminder that our present circumstances, the good and the bad, are a reflection of choices we've already made.
Ultimately, this 2,000-year-old text isn't just a collection of fables. It's really a handbook for how to be the author of your own life. It suggests that every single action, every single intention, is like a drop of ink. And the question it leaves us with is a really powerful one. What story are your actions writing